In the serene landscapes of Galilee, Jesus began his ministry by calling ordinary men to an extraordinary purpose. Peter and Andrew, casting their nets into the sea, were the first to hear his invitation. "Come, follow me, and I will send you out to fish for people." Matthew 4:19. Without hesitation, they left their nets behind. Soon after, James and John, sons of Zebedee, were mending their nets when Jesus called them. They too left their boat and father to follow him. Matthew 4:21-22. These initial calls set the tone for the transformative journey ahead. The 12, a diverse group. Jesus selected 12 individuals to be his closest companions and to carry forward his teachings. These included Simon Peter, Andrew James, son of Zebedee, John Philip Bartholomew, Matthew, the tax collector, Thomas James, son of Alphaeus, Thaddeus, Simon the Zealot, Judas Iscariot. This group was diverse, comprising fishermen, a tax collector, and a zealot, reflecting a broad spectrum of society. Their varied backgrounds would later contribute to the richness of their ministry. Lessons on the Mount. The sermon, one of Jesus' most profound teachings, occurred on a mountainside, where he delivered what is now known as the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew 5-7. Here he taught the Beatitudes, emphasizing humility, mercy, and righteousness. He instructed his disciples on prayer, fasting, and the importance of inner purity over outward appearances. This sermon served as a foundational guide for the disciples, shaping their understanding of the kingdom of heaven and their roles within it. Parables, teaching through stories. Jesus often used parables, simple stories with deeper meanings, to convey complex spiritual truths. The disciples were privy to the explanations of these parables, gaining insights into the mysteries of the kingdom. For instance, in the parable of the sower, Matthew 13:1-23, Jesus illustrated how different people received the message of God, preparing the disciples for the varied responses they would encounter in their ministry. Empowerment. Sending out the 12. Recognizing the need to expand his ministry, Jesus empowered the 12 disciples to go out and preach. He gave them authority to drive out impure spirits and heal diseases. Matthew 10:1. He instructed them to take no gold, silver, or copper, emphasizing reliance on God's provision and the hospitality of others. Matthew 10:9-10. This mission was a significant step in their development, transitioning them from learners to active participants in spreading the gospel. Miracles and faith. Witnessing the divine. Throughout their journey, the disciples witnessed numerous miracles that reinforced their faith. They saw Jesus calm storms, feed thousands with minimal food, and raise the dead. These events not only amazed them, but also served as tangible demonstrations of Jesus' divine authority. For example, when Jesus walked on water, Peter attempted to do the same. Though he faltered, this experience deepened his understanding of faith and trust in Jesus. Matthew 14:22-33. Challenges and lessons. Peter's denial. Despite their close relationship with Jesus, the disciples faced challenges. Peter, known for his zeal, denied knowing Jesus 3 times during his trial. Luke 22:54-62. This moment of weakness was a pivotal lesson in humility and the need for grace. After Jesus' resurrection, he reinstated Peter, emphasizing forgiveness and the importance of perseverance in faith. John 21:15-19. The Great Commission, a global mission. Following his resurrection, Jesus appeared to his disciples and gave them the Great Commission. Go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. Matthew 28:19-20. This directive transformed the disciples into apostles, sending them out to spread the gospel worldwide. Legacy. The early church, empowered by the Holy Spirit at Pentecost, the apostles began preaching boldly, performing miracles, and establishing the early church. Their teachings and writings laid the foundation for Christian doctrine and continue to influence believers today. Each apostle contributed uniquely. Peter became a leading figure in the early church. John emphasized love and authored several New Testament books. Matthew documented Jesus' life and teachings. Thomas took the gospel to India. Their collective efforts ensured the message of Jesus reached diverse cultures and generations. Despite witnessing miracles, the disciples struggled with doubt. When Peter attempted to walk on water toward Jesus but began to sink, Jesus gently chided him. "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" Matthew 14:31. These moments became turning points. They were reminders that faith was not the absence of fear, but trust in the midst of it. Each failure led to a deeper understanding of grace and reliance on Jesus. One day, Jesus took Peter, James, and John up a high mountain. There, he was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became dazzling white. Moses and Elijah appeared, and a voice from heaven declared, "This is my son whom I love. With him I am well pleased. Listen to him." Matthew 17:5. This moment was a divine affirmation of Jesus' identity and mission. The disciples who witnessed it never forgot the awe of that vision. It prepared them for the trials ahead. On the night before his crucifixion, Jesus shared a final meal with his disciples. He broke bread and shared wine, symbolizing his body and blood. "Do this in remembrance of me," he said, Luke 22:19. At this meal, he also washed their feet, demonstrating servant leadership. It was a powerful lesson in humility and love. He knew one of them would betray him, another would deny him, and all would scatter. Yet he still loved them. Judas Iscariot, one of the 12, betrayed Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. In the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus was arrested, and his disciples fled. Peter, who had vowed loyalty, denied knowing Jesus 3 times. Jesus was tried, beaten, and crucified. From the cross, he forgave his executioners and entrusted his disciples with his mission. The disciples watched in horror and grief as their teacher died. 3 days later, everything changed. The tomb was empty. Jesus appeared to Mary Magdalene and later to his disciples. He showed them his wounds and restored Peter with love and purpose. Before ascending to heaven, Jesus gave them the Great Commission. "Go and make disciples of all nations, teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always." Matthew 28:19-20. With these words, the disciples transformed from fearful followers into bold messengers. After Pentecost, when the Holy Spirit descended, the disciples preached with power. Peter spoke, and 3,000 believed. Thomas traveled as far as India. Andrew preached in Greece, Philip in Phrygia, Matthew to Ethiopia. James was martyred in Jerusalem. John, the beloved disciple, survived persecution and wrote Revelation in exile. They spread Jesus' message to the ends of the earth, often at great cost. Their transformation from simple men to pillars of faith became a testament to the truth of their master. The teachings and actions of the 12 apostles laid the foundation of the early church. Their stories live on in the New Testament, and their sacrifices continue to inspire millions. Their journey was not perfect, but it was real, full of doubt, growth, courage, and unwavering love for their teacher. They learned to see through his eyes, walk in his footsteps, and lead others toward light. This is the story of how the message of Jesus began with 12 men and grew into a global faith, not because they were extraordinary, but because they said yes to an extraordinary calling.